it's time to be in the kitchen. Did you get an Instant Pot for Christmas and you don't know what to do with it? Or did you get one a few years ago and it's still sitting in the box because you're scared? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about all week this week. I've got a couple friends that have gotten new Instant Pots, and I want to make sure that they can love them as much as I do. I'm Lainey Stump. I love to help people look better, feel better, have more energy by making better choices with the food they eat and the products that they use. So, the product that we're using this week is our Instant Pot. Mine's name is Mary Jane, because I name things. So, Instant Pots are fantastic. They can make things so easy and save you so much time. I am not exaggerating when I say it is one of the things I reach for almost every single day. It can cook your dinner while you're not worrying about it. I used to boil over every pot of beans I ever tried to make on the stove every single time. I love that I can plug it in, turn it on, and walk away. And it's quicker than a crock pot. I love crock pot cooking too, and I'm gonna do some stuff on that, but this is what I really use all the time. So here are some tips. If you are scared because you've heard those horror stories about people blowing up a pressure cooker, those were like the grandma pressure cookers, and I used one of those for years too. I grew up with my mom using them with the little rocker thing on the top and that sound going all the time. So until I found this, I used one of those old ones and loved it. But I also have a stain up on my ceiling where the rocker got knocked off once and hot steam spurted up to the ceiling. So this has safety features. You don't have to worry about that. The lid locks into place, and until it does that, it won't let you start. It has a mechanism that once it reaches pressure, which is indicated by this small silver thing, when that is popped up, you can't take the lid off. And there's also a burn detector in it that if there's not enough moisture in here and your food's gonna just burn up, it's gonna shut off. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, I'm talking about the Instant Pot. I think mine was called either the 7-in-1 or the 8-in-1 cooker. I can't even remember. When I found out there was such a thing as an electric pressure cooker, I was super excited because of the aforementioned explosion of the bean sauce that I had. So, because you don't have to babysit it, you don't have to pull it off the heat and everything. And so I bought just a cheap one, and I used that one for about a year. I loved it until I literally killed it. I wore the sucker out. And then I did my research and found out about the Instant Pot, and at that time you couldn't even buy them here. I had to buy mine from Canada. So mine is an imported Instant Pot. So I bought mine because at the time I was eating a lot of Greek yogurt, and a lot of my kids were, and you can make Greek yogurt in it, and it's fantastic and it does a great job, but we don't eat as much, and so now I don't even make the yogurt. It has all these buttons, all these functions. I use 4 pretty much all the time. So saute is fantastic. It has 3 different settings: low, medium, high. The low would be to simmer stuff. The medium or middle one would be for regular browning or sauteing vegetables, and the high would be more for searing large cuts of meat. I really don't use the saute. I use the saute function, but I don't use it on high because it gets hot. It will burn your stuff really fast. So, and then you have the saute button down here, and then you just press off, cancel, the keep warm cancel. Manual is your pressure cooker button. It says manual, that means pressure cook. That allows you to manually set the time, which is basically what all these other buttons do, except for the yogurt one, is just it has a pre-programmed time, but I don't like them. Like the beans one, I find it like annihilates the beans. So I just do manual because then I have more control. You can again adjust high pressure versus low pressure. Pretty much always use high pressure. There are occasional recipes out there that I'll find that are low pressure, but for the most part, it's all high pressure. So I use manual, and then I just set the time using the plus and minus buttons here. Keep warm, or the cancel. Cancel is your off button. Keep warm is what the machine goes to after it's reached pressure and it's cooked for the time that you set. It goes into a keep warm setting. Kind of think of a low crock pot. So you can set it and your food will stay warm. You can also turn it on keep warm after you've, slow cooked or something else. You can always, just by toggling between keep warm and off, and you can set how long you want it to keep warm. And then the slow cook function makes it into a crock pot. So I use it as a crock pot all the time. It has a kind of a low keep warm, a medium, which would be your low slow cook crock pot, and then high. And so you can use it for that too. So those are the 4 functions that I use. I don't use like the rice and the beans and everything. And I'll talk to you later this week about how I use it for those other things. So your recipe is often going to have the choice between natural release and quick release. Natural release means you just leave it alone. And when this little button on the top goes down, you open the pot. Quick release means you slide this little toggle, which is always pointed to the back. If you're pressure cooking, it's to the front if you're crock pot cooking. But so if you are quick releasing, it's to the back. Once it has cooked for the amount of time you told it to, you press back forward. So that's the difference between a natural and a quick release. Sometimes it'll say 10-minute natural release. That means you just leave it alone for 10 minutes and then you hit that button to the front. When you do that, be very careful because steam will shoot out of the top. So, they say you can hit it with a wooden spoon or something to make sure. I've never had a problem. You just don't put your hand over the bent part. However, in things that can be foamier, like I have a fantastic Instant Pot mac and cheese recipe that I'll be sharing with you later. It can foam out and just kind of go everywhere and make a mess. So I throw a towel over it. I hit it to the front, throw a towel over it until it's all done going. So, but by letting it rest for 10 minutes with that 10-minute natural release, there's not as much steam. It's already released some of the pressure. All right, so more tips. So this lid can conveniently sit on the handles. So that's pretty handy. Like I said, keep your hands and face away from this pressure release valve when you're releasing pressure because you will burn yourself. Make sure that you don't use your Instant Pot in a closed-in area of your kitchen, like under a cupboard, especially when you're releasing that steam because there's so much moisture that's coming up. It will damage your cupboards. I once did that. I had a rice cooker and I always used it in one particular spot in my kitchen, and then all of a sudden my cupboard started warping. Whoops. So anyway, so out in the middle of an open counter is best. And you don't want to fill it more than 2/3 full, and because it needs room to expand. And if you're doing something that expands a lot, like rice or beans, only fill it halfway full. Whenever you cook with an Instant Pot, you need to use at least half a cup of water while cooking, and that's it. So if you're thinking like several chicken breasts or something, only half a cup of water, it's fine. And you can use liquids other than water if you want to add flavor, like a chicken broth or a tomato sauce or something like that, but you need at least half a cup. You can use multiple features at once, and I do this all the time. You can saute your meat, you can brown your meat, and then you can throw all your other stuff in there and pressure cook it. And then you use the keep warm feature after that. There are times where I've got meals where I will brown meat, then I will cook beans, and then I will cook brown rice, which brings me to another tip. It's really handy to have multiple pots. I have 2, and like right now, one of them is in the refrigerator. A dinner plate fits fantastic right over the top to act as a lid, with a chicken carcass in it that I'm gonna make chicken stock with. Tonight, I'm gonna chop up some veggies, throw it in there, and it's just gonna go on slow cook all night long, doing its little job, making some chicken stock. So it's really handy to have multiple pots, especially because we do a lot of bean and rice dishes. So we'll have one pot that will be the beans, and then the second pot will be the rice. Also, if you have like a leftover soup or something, you can put it back in here and either put it on slow cook to warm up, or if you need it a little quicker, you can put it on saute. Use either the low or the medium and stir frequently because it does burn. Let's see, you can adjust the temperatures, as I said, using these little plus minus buttons down there in the various features. Even though things can say that they're super quick with a pressure cooker, and it's true, it does cook quicker than on the stove, you do have to allow time for it to come up to pressure, and that time varies based on how full the pot is. If you don't have that much stuff in there, it comes up pretty quick. But if you, like when we cook beans, we cook a mess of beans, and so this thing is half full for sure with beans and water to cook them, and so that takes a little bit longer. So don't think that you're truly going to have that meal on the table in 10 minutes. It only takes 10 minutes to cook, but you have to allow for it to come up to pressure, and depending on the recipe, you have to allow it to drop. But the beautiful thing is once you turn it on, you can walk away. You don't have to babysit it, and that's what I love because I get distracted and then I burn stuff. All right, you want to be careful with dairy. The Instant Pot is excellent at retaining a lot of liquid, which is good, but it can, with dairy, it can sometimes curdle. So if you're going to put cream cheese or milk or cream in a recipe, wait till after it's cooked and then add it in, because the high pressure, it just cooks it so fast, it will curdle that. And because it is so great at retaining liquid, it doesn't lose it. Like if you were cooking it on the stove, you might need to thicken it afterwards. I recommend either xanthan gum or glucomannan are the healthier choices rather than cornstarch or flour for thickening. But that's just me. This pot is completely dishwasher safe. So if you can afford this real estate in your dishwasher, it totally works in there and does a pretty good job. This lid has to be hand washed, and then the rest of the pot can be wiped down by machine. Make sure you get into these little nooks and crannies around the top with a toothbrush every once in a while, because they can get a little disgusting. And let's see, your pot probably comes with this little steamer basket. It's fantastic for doing meats that you don't want to fall apart, or steaming like large heads of broccoli, or using it as a lifter to pull something out. Instant Pots also, or electric pressure cookers, Instant Pot's the brand name, but also you can buy lots of accessories. Silicone works really well in it, and if you don't have one of these, you can fashion one out of aluminum foil. So that is what I have for you. Oh, one more thing. I just learned that you can actually buy an air fryer type lid to fit on here, so you don't need an extra air fryer. Now, I don't have one yet, but look into that if you were thinking, do I need an air fryer, but you already have an Instant Pot? Because I know my thing is, I don't want one more appliance, but I'm willing to allow an extra lid to come live in my house. So that might be something that you're interested in too. All right, let me know if you have any questions about your Instant Pot. I've been using one for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, and love it every single day. So please share this video with others so they can learn how to use their appliances and they're not attracting too much dust. And that is all I have for you today. I'll be coming back tomorrow with some easy, quick recipes for your pot. Thanks. Bye.